So I've had a couple of people ask me about how do you do uh, normal maps or how do you sculpt them rather? And a lot of people often mistake sculpting as, oh, you paint them on, or oh, you have to model out all the details. And sure, you technically do model them out, but not in the way you think. Some other people think that you paint them on, just like, with Substance Painter. In fact, I had one person quite recently say that Blender can't do normal maps at all. That's why Substance Painter is used for that process. Now, another misconception there is that Substance Painter, while being one of the best out there, which can do normal maps, it is still painting on a normal map. It's just generated from other things. But what we're going over is multi-resing. Now, MultiRes, as you can see here, I have a plane with just simple 4 cuts, so it's 4 faces. And what I'm going to do is add a MultiRes. So here we go, and you see nothing's changed, and that's because I need to hit subdivide, and again, and again, and again, and again, and you can go up as high as you want. So if I turn off optimal display and show you the wireframe now, I can keep going up and up and up, and I'm going to do about 8, and this is up to 524,000 polygons. So now if we go into sculpt, you see that I can actually have this. However, if I was to go back into object mode, and I can change the viewport down to 0, and you can see there now it's a cube. So it's still technically only 4 faces, but when I hit sculpt mode, it goes into the 520 whatever thousand it was. And this is what you can do. So what I like to do is, when it comes to roughness details, so that's like stuff like skin bumps, skin pores, sand, rocks, whatever, a planet's surface, so to speak. I always use the clay tool. Now, another thing you can do is you can actually add a texture to it, and you can make it a clouds texture. As you see here, if I zoom in, and I go to the clay, bring this up, you see here that nothing's happening, and that's because I got clay strips on. Whoopsie. As you see there, I got some roughness going on. So you can change the size of this, and depending on your multi-resolution, so let's say I want even more, so there we go, and you can see here I can really zoom in and get some nice detail going on. And you can do other stuff like just draw on sharp, and you can actually add this as well. So as you see here, I'm drawing, showing it, so we can do this for example, and we can see exactly where we want to go. You see here as I'm moving around, it will still do that, but not on this end. So I'm going to do 7. And I'm going to just add some detail there. And I can do stuff like the crease as well, can also have it. So let's just do a bit of that. So basically, once you make a texture on this, you can just change it up as well. So I can go, yeah, make a new one. And I can go distorted noise, for example. And you can see here now I've got quite a few bits going on there. And I like to use the clay tool. It gives you a stencil of what you're drawing with. It's faint, but it's there. Alright, and I can go over there. And you can also just draw it on as well. So, there you go. Let's smooth a bit of it there. And then obviously I can change the amount, which will change the overall noise generation. So let's make another one as well. So I got rid of that one. Oh no, there it is. So, let's do Stucci, or whatever it's called, Stucci. No, let's do Vodanoir. Vodanoir, whatever it is. And you can see here, I'm getting little bits of dots here and there. And I can paint on here too, little cracks. And you can do a lot of things really. You can make your own texture and put it in here too. So like here's waves, so you get like nice generation of them. You get to do like distortions and bands and rings. Let's do ring noise, shall we? And let's increase that. Let's increase the turbulence. Oh no, let's decrease it and increase. I'm not really sure what Nabla does, but whatever it does something. Alright. So as you can see, I've gone absolutely crazy with this, and you can see here there's a lot of detail, and yet it's still only 4 faces. So how do we make this into a normal map? Well, the first thing we need to do is we can go up to the shading tab. And if we add a new material, we want to go and make a new image texture. So that's Shift A, S, image texture. Now you can put this at any resolution you want, however I recommend either 2K or 4K. And the reason why is because 1K is only good if you're using like a tileable texture, and that's something you can make as well. 2K is pretty good if you want more detail, but obviously if you have something with a lot of detail, a lot of cracks and creases, you'll probably want it at 4K. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go here and do asterisks 4, and that'll put up to 4K. And I can just hover over it, Control C, Control V, and I'm going to call this wild bump, or wild normal. I'm going to call it wild underscore n. I'm just going to hit enter. So now you can do this with any mesh, but if you're wanting to have a normal map which you can use universally, and you can tile it or rotate it or just slap it on anything, then what you want to do is then make it onto a plane. So you either sculpt it on a plane, or you sculpt it and then on the model, and then you put it onto the plane. So what that'll be is you select the plane and then you make the MultiRes out. Now that doesn't sometimes work, so it's best if you do all the sculpting of the tileable or the generic normal maps onto a plane, and then you bake that out and then you put it onto your model. And I can go over that in another video, so I'll show you that, but this is just the instance of how to get it a normal map from a sculpt. So we switch our render engine to cycles, make sure our device is set to go GPU. A little trick is, for the samples of both the render and the viewport, you can set it to 1. Baking only requires a sample, not however many you want for a render or an image, but just to bake it you need samples. So 1 sample is more than enough for this. And under the bake here, this is what we're looking at. So as you can see here, we have bake from MultiRes already a thing. So if you click on it, it'll go to normals. What we want to do is make sure that our image node is already selected, like here. Make sure it's selected on here, and all you have to do is hit bake. Give it a moment, and there we go. Now, granted, I have a pretty powerful GPU. It's not the best, but it is pretty powerful. It's an NVIDIA 3060 with 12GB VRAM. So depending on your graphics card, depending on your processor, depending on your setup, your hardware, it may take more time or less time. Now I know mine's not the best, but it's still pretty beefy. So if we Control Shift click, by the way, use Node Wrangler. If you don't have it installed or enabled, go to your file, edit, preferences, and enable those 3: Node Wrangler, Node Arranger, and Node something else. And and then you can do this. So if you Control Shift click on it, you can see there that that has baked out, and that baked out pretty well. Now, of course, if I want it to be even higher, I can just add a new one and call it wild underscore n2, and I'm going to just do times 2. And you see that's 8K. So if I go back to here, I click on this and go bake, you see here it's going to take a little bit longer, hopefully not too much longer, but it will take a while because it is doing it now in double the resolution. So that is not even double the pixels, but quadruple, like however many times it is. But as you can see there, it's done, and as you see there, very, very nice, and it is very clean. So a lot of things happened in between. Basically all I did was just a simple setup of this, but yeah, so this is the same texture. All I did was I added a little bit of extra noise by just doing a bump. That will be on another video as well. So as you can see here, it's right here. I say here a lot, I know, but here it is. And if I was to move this plane around, you can see here that all the lighting data is correct, all the numbers are working. So this is the 2K one, so I actually downscaled it, and all you have to do to downscale it is simply take that image. So what you do is you go into the cycles, of course, same thing is just like we're doing with the MultiRes. Sorry, my brain's a little bit off. You disable the MultiRes, you go bake type, normal, and then what you can do is you make a new image node, make it whatever lower resolution, you click on it, make sure it's highlighted, and then you bake. So in order to bake a normal map, downscaling or any normal map, you're going to make sure that your normal map node is here. So all you have to do is Shift A S normal map, which obviously I did wrong. Normal map there. You pop in the color into the color, and obviously the normal into your material, and then you can highlight your new image, which I did here, and then I hit bake, And if you have already got existing stuff on it and you want to bake from another mesh, you make sure clear image is turned off, but we'll get over that into another video as well. So yep, all I did was I just baked it and downscaled it down to 2K. You can see here that it is still very clean, and yes, so that's what that is. So if I go back to the 8K, nothing really changes. So that's 8K, that's 2K with a bit of noise added to it. So that is the basics on how to do multi-res sculpting into normal maps and baking. We'll go over more things like ambient occlusion, you know, transmission if need to be, which is basic just alpha. We can go over glossy, diffuse, all this stuff here as you see here. The main one obviously you kind of need is roughness, diffuse, emit, and normal. You can also use glossy. Glossy and roughness is kind of the same thing, but glossy is more of metallic based. We'll go over that in a bit. Well, not in a bit, but next time. So if there's anything else that you would like to know, please leave a comment down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more future tutorials. There will be an intro and outro made soon. I am currently in the works of that. So stay tuned, and I'll catch you all in a bit. Have a good one.